line plots, and what line plots are for is to organize our data so that it's easy to look at and see and answer questions from. Okay, so the first thing we always do is on the baseline down here, we put our list of data here, we put the smallest one on the left. That's called our minimum. Well, out of this list of data, we have halves, fourths, three-fourths, and I think that's it. 1/4 is the smallest, so it goes on the left. The largest goes on the right, which in this case would be 3/4. And then the other ones go in order in between. Well, there's only one other one, so that'd be 1/2. Now, what we do to do a line plot is we are going to put X's on top of each one of these to show how many times that fraction occurred. Okay, so this word problem, if you read it, is about a breakfast chef and using different amounts of milk when making pancakes. So if we look at 1/4 cups, looks like we have 1 and 2 1/4 cups, so we'd put 2 X's there. And then for 1/2, it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, so you'd have 6 X's there. And it looks like there's a couple of 3/4, so they go here. Okay, so it would end up looking like this. Notice that every X is exactly the same size and same distance apart, so these second X's all the way across should be the same. So this is our line plot. Now the second step after you've done that is we want to tally up each column. Okay, so each X here stands for 1/4. So if I have 1/4 and 1/4, that's 2/4. Now we don't need to worry about reducing until the very end here, so we can just keep them as fourths right now. These are all halves. So if I have 2 halves, that's a whole. So 1, 2, that's a whole. 1, 2, that's 2 wholes. 1, 2, that's 3 wholes. So the total of that one is 3 cups. And then 3/4, and 3/4 would be 6/4. Okay, now, sometimes they might ask you what is the total weight or the total amount of milk the chef used in half-cup portions. Well, if we look at this, we have already added it up. Looks like the chef used 3 cups total in the half-cup portions. If they asked about the 4th cup, you could say 1/2 cup or 2/4. And the 3/4 and how much total milk did they use? Well, it'd be 1.5 or 1 2/4. Now, the hardest thing that kids have is when we find the average. A lot of times they're going to have you find the average of this set of data. Now, what average means is you have your high-end numbers, your low-end numbers, and we're talking about finding the one that's kind of right smack dab in the middle. That's what average means. So in this, there's 2 numbers that we have to do. Okay, and we use the fraction bar to mean divide. The top number is going to be the total of all of our columns. Okay, so it'd be 2/4 plus 3 plus 6/4. Okay, well if we did that, 2/4 plus 6/4 is 8/4, and 8/4 is 2 wholes. And then if we add the 3 more on, that is 5. So the top number is always the one that you add up all of this data. You add it all up and you put it on the top. The bottom number is how many numbers did we add up. Okay, so if you look at our data here, I believe we have 10 parts of data. So you could count them up here, or you could also count each individual X. You should also have 10 X's. Okay, so we put that there. Now, we've learned in previous videos that if the top number of the fraction is bigger, which is called an improper fraction, then we would divide it and find out what that equals. But in this case, it's not. 5 divided by 10 is 5/10. However, we can reduce that. 5/10 can be divided by 5, and that would be 1/2. So the average of this set of data is 1/2, and it really looks like it too. You know, you have such a large group of half cups, a little bit of fourths, a little bit of 3/4. So the middle is probably going to be in here somewhere. All right, so that's what line plots are, and that's how you figure out the average as well.